So I just wanted to introduce myself and sort of explain where Spear and Arrow came from and how I come up with this brand. So as I said, my name's Lynette and I live in County Antrim, Northern Ireland. And up until 2015, I was a civil servant working for the Department of Justice here in the North. And I have married with two boys, and in 2015, unfortunately, I was diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer, and it was a big shock. I was 37. It was inflammatory breast cancer, so I always try to explain to people about inflammatory breast cancer because it affects young women. And there's no lump, so it's actually where the breast swells. I'm not sure whether you've heard of it or you are familiar with it, but I do like to explain what it is, and sort of whenever I'm talking to customers to make them aware. So it turns out I've got the BRCA gene as well, but I had sort of ordinary breast cancer in one breast and inflammatory breast cancer in the other breast. So I had to go on to treatment first because the left breast here had swole up so much. I was misdiagnosed first of all because they told me that I had nothing in the left breast, but they'd found something in the right breast and there was a hole. So this went on for a few weeks, and then I was told I'd had a lumpectomy in the right one, and then the left one I was told there was nothing wrong with it and to go home and get on with my life, and because I'd already had a lumpectomy. But in the meantime, this one was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it turned out that because I was triple negative breast cancer, I had to have chemo. And it was only whenever I met my oncologist for the first time that he looked at the breast and he automatically said, you have to go back for surgery. You're going to need a mastectomy, because I had inflammatory breast cancer in the left. So first off, I went on to treatment because they need to reduce the swelling in the breast to be able to do the mastectomy. So while I was on treatment for the breast cancer, yes, the left breast reduced and it was going down really well, but I took another lump in the right one. So February 2016, I had to have a double mastectomy. Had the double mastectomy and asked for more chemo, and they said, sorry, there is nothing, you've had it. And I says, well, I want more chemo. So literally this is whenever my fight started. So I went to London and went to a professor in London, and he recommended that I needed a certain chemo. Came home, the oncologist here wouldn't give me it. So I ended up having to wait. I got then tested for the BRCA gene, and yes, I had the BRCA gene. Then he gave me the chemo, and I had one of the chemo for the breast cancer, and about 2 weeks later, I thought it was side effects from the chemo, but I took a really bad headache, and the headache kept going on and on and on. So about a week later, I ended up in the hospital, and I was then told that yes, the breast cancer had spread to my brain. So I have had, all in all, I have had 3 tumours removed from the brain. I've had a double mastectomy. I've had 15 radiotherapy on the chest. I've had whole brain radiotherapy, and I've had stereotactic radiotherapy. And what else have I had? I've had sepsis, and I've had 19 blood transfusions, and I've probably forgot some of the treatment anyway. But anyway, as you can see, I'm alive. I didn't look good in 2017. It certainly didn't look good for me, but I did a lot of natural things, and I was taking my turmeric and ginger. I took the THC oil for the brain. I was doing oxygen therapy. I was taking reishi mushrooms. I was, what else was I doing? Oh, the list, can't even remember it all. Just green tea, drinking green tea, lots of things I was doing myself. So I definitely believe that the THC oil has helped with the brain, because whenever I started taking it, I haven't had anything in the brain since. So in 2018, I was told I had no evidence of active disease, but because I was so ill at that stage, they wanted to bring me off everything to allow my body to sort of recuperate. And then they brought me back in 3 months, scanned me, and were saying, right, well, we'll come up with a plan then. 3 months later, I had no evidence of active disease. So they sent me away again for another 3 months and said, we'll look at you in 3 months. And that was 8 years ago. So for the first 2 years, I got scans every 3 months. And thank God they all come back that I had no evidence of active disease. And whenever I then had got to the 2 years, then they moved to 6 months. So I still get scans every 6 months. I'm still classified as stage 4 cancer. But I am one of the 1% who have actually got myself to no evidence of active disease at stage 4, which is miraculous, because I actually forgot to say that whenever it was in the brain, then it went to the lymph nodes in the neck here and all along the collarbone. But I moved hospitals 3 times. I moved oncologists twice. I went to London, and I finally got an oncologist that was throwing belts and braces at me, which he still says to this day. But I honestly believe that it was the natural route that I took as well to enhance what I was going through. So I just wanted to let you know who I am, but that is basically what happened and how I ended up making bone broth, because whenever I was told that I had no evidence of active disease, I wanted to heal myself basically from all the side effects that I was having and to come off all the prescription medication that I was on. So I was on prescription antidepressants, omeprazole, sleeping tablets, painkillers. I was on so many prescription meds. I had a bag of stuff and my pill box every night, and I was taking all that, and I says, no, want to come off everything. And I weaned myself off everything, antidepressants and everything, and I decided that I wanted to do everything natural. But I had really bad GERD from all the prescription drugs that I was taking, and the acid in my stomach and in my throat at night. So I wanted to find something, and I wanted to come off omeprazole, because then I had been reading about all the omeprazole and about dementia and all this. So I wanted to come off all that. So that's whenever I started watching all these webinars about natural ingredients and food and things like that. So we were always home cookers anyway. We always cooked nice fresh food at home. We weren't takeaway people, or we weren't convenience food. It was always home cooked dinners every night. So with a lot of the ingredients, then we just started to again just look at adding in more veg and fruit and things like that, and yogurts and Greek yogurts and kefir and probiotics and things like that. But I discovered bone broth, and I started making it in my own kitchen for myself, and then I was making it for other people who was also sick and had things like colitis. My neighbour had colitis, so I was making it for her, and it was just one day she said to me, why do you not just do this and sell this to people? So naively I thought, yeah, you know, I could do with a wee part-time job. So I started down the avenue of looking into starting my own business, and because my friends own the meat processing plant, and they're also the farmers, and I live on the land that their farming all is on, so it was easy for me to get bones, and I started making it. But I got an innovation voucher through through Invest NI and through a food technology company, and we started working here, and it happened to be COVID year. So we worked away in the unit here, and because again, as I said, it's a meat product, it's a license I have, so I have got approved premises here to make bone broth, so everything is audited. I am going for SALSA accreditation, so I'm working towards a SALSA accreditation, but I'm already a licensed product, so I've already got these premises approved to make the product. And one of the other wee things I just wanted to say about the pouches as well was I'm moving away from these sticky labels, and what you're going to see then is a wee cardboard sleeve over it, which will be a lot nicer and neater, and more professional looking. So it'll be a wee cardboard sleeve with the Spear and Arrow, my pre-printed sleeves they're going to be. So, and again, what I'm trying always to do is to try and get a longer shelf life. So we've come a long way since 2021, whenever I launched my first product, which was the plain. And I went to markets. I took it round the wee artisan markets here in the north. And honestly, whenever I first went to markets, it was as if I'd brought something from Mars, because people just didn't know what it was. Didn't know why they would be taking that. First of all, they thought it was soup. Then they were like, bones? Why would I be taking bones? So the first year was tough. But thankfully, because of the product and people that did know about it and did know about bone broth and the benefits, word of mouth started to spread, and it got bigger and bigger, the word of mouth, and more customers was coming and buying online and maybe going around the markets. But I then realised that going around the markets wasn't what I needed to be doing, because I wasn't selling pots of jam or fudge or cakes or buns or anything like that people are out interested for. And I needed to find a target market for this, and I knew that it was health food shops and pharmacies, because it is a health supplement, as I keep saying. It's not a grocery. It's not something. Yes, people ask me, can they make soup with this pouch? And I say, well, yes, it's going to be an expensive pot of soup, but what I would recommend to them is that they can actually make their soup and put their 2 spoonfuls into their own cup or their own bowl of soup. The other thing that people say, can I freeze it? I say, well, if you're going to freeze the whole pouch, once it defrosts, you have to use that within a week. But what you can do is actually put it into ice cube trays and put your portions into ice cube trays and freeze it, and then just took your ice cube tray out every day, which is another way which people can prolong the usage of the pouch. So I hope that has helped, and I hope it sort of give you a bit of feedback about who I am, why I started Bone Broth. But yeah, I'm passionate about health, natural products. I'm passionate about helping others, and so many people have come to see me, and I never ever refer to them that this is for cancer. I always say that this is for your gut and for digestion and things like that. So I'm always very clear to people that I am not promoting this, that it healed me in any way, because I actually started making this after I had been given the all clear. So it's no way ever promote it that it miraculously cured me, and I am under no illusions that I'm cured, and it's the no evidence of active disease, and that's why they're still monitoring me. 8 years later, I still get scans, because I know that my luck will run out someday and I will end up getting the news that it's back. But until that day, I want to live my life, and hopefully I can have a successful business and teach other people the benefits of eating natural and eating good home cooked food and natural ingredients and things, and not always having to reach for a box of pills, that they can actually help themselves by just changing their diet and adding more natural food into, which I'm really passionate about. So yes, thank you for listening to me. I hope I haven't bored you too much, but I will send my details. You can ring me, you can WhatsApp me, you can email me anytime you want, or if your customers have any issues with the products or want to ask any questions, they can email me or WhatsApp me directly, and I am more than happy to help them. So thank you for listening, and I hope that everything goes well and the sales will, as I've also said, is that I'm going to be running a Google Ads campaign, hopefully around September time, and hopefully I'm going to get a radio advert. So if anybody has any suggestions of what radio station to advertise in ROI, then I would be really appreciate it. But I will run a radio ad, and hopefully that will get the brand awareness up for Spear and Arrow. Okay, thank you. That's great. Thanks.